You know, the 1972 Major League Baseball playoffs was a story of four different franchises on different levels of rising and falling. The Pittsburgh Pirates made it, played the Cincinnati Reds. Cincinnati won the series, while the Detroit Tigers, who won the 68 World Series, got back with Billy Martin in 72 against the Oakland A's, but couldn't outlast an Oakland team that held on to win in 5 games, with Game 5 in Detroit that they won. Now, the 72 Major League Baseball postseason was probably one of the most exciting in recent years. The winners of each division advanced to the postseason to face each other in a league title series to determine the pennant winners that would take each other on in the World Series. Now, in the American League, the Tigers made their first postseason appearance since '68, while the A's made their second straight AL West postseason appearance. In the National League, the Reds returned for the second time in 3 years, and the Pirates made their third straight postseason appearance. Now, the playoffs began on October 7, '72, and concluded just 15 days later on October 22nd, '72, with Athletics defeating the Reds in 7 games in the '72 World Series. It was the Athletics' 6th title in franchise history and the first since 1930, when the team was still based in Philadelphia. Now, Detroit advanced with a 62-70 record, playing again the AL West champion Athletics, who were 93-62. The biggest distance between the two teams in the postseason. While the Pirates finished 96-59, the best record in Major League Baseball, while the Reds finished 95-59. Now, the Detroit-Oakland series went the limit. Oakland won the first game 3-2, 11 innings, and won Game 2, 5-0 at home. But the Tigers rebounded for a 3-0 victory in Game 3, 4-3 extra inning victory in 10 in Game 4, with Athletics squeezing it out literally on a play-it-to-play-it by Reggie Jackson. Now, this was the first postseason meeting between the Tigers and Athletics. Despite blowing a 2-0 lead, the Athletics narrowly defeated the Tigers to advance to the World Series, first time since '31, when the team was still based out of Philadelphia, in the process denying a rematch of the '40 World Series between the Tigers and Reds. Game 1 went 11 innings, as the Tigers took a 2-1 lead in the top 11th, but the Athletics rallied to win by a 3-2 score in the bottom of the inning. Blue Modem pitched a solid game for Athletics in Game 2, as showed the Tigers by a 5-0 score to take a 2-0 series lead. Now, Game 2 was the most controversial of the series. Athletics shortstop Bert Campaneris came to bat, having had 3 hits, 2 runs scored, and 2 stolen bases in his first 3 at-bats of the game. Tigers relief pitcher Larry LeGros' first pitch hit Campaneris in the ankle. He staggered for a moment, glared at LeGros, and then flung his bat toward the mound. The bat fired at LeGros 5 feet off the ground, but he ducked, and the bat nearly missed him, landing a few feet behind the mound. The bench was cleared, and while there were no punches thrown or other incidents involving players, Tigers manager Billy Martin had to be restrained by umpires and teammates to prevent him from going after Campaneris. Both LeGros and Campaneris were suspended for the rest of the ALCS. With the series shifted to Detroit for Game 3, the Tigers defeated Athletics 3-0 as Joe Coleman pitched a complete game shutout. Game 4 was the most memorable of the series. The game remained tied at 1 after 9, and at the top of the 10th, the Athletics took a 3-1 lead, and it appeared that the Tigers were finished. However, in the bottom of the 10th, the Tigers rallied as Dick McAuliffe and Al Callahan hit back-to-back singles. Oakland relief pitcher Joe Horland then threw a wild pitch, which advanced the runners to second and third, and he walked Yates Brown to load the bases with no out. Bill Freehan did grounded in an apparent double play ball to third, but the inexperienced tenants at second dropped Sal Bando's throw. McAuliffe scored, and everybody was safe. Dave Hamilton did relieve Horland and promptly walked Norm Cash to tie the game, and then gave up a walk-off single to Jim Northrup. A ball hit over right fielder Matty Alou's head as the outfield was drawn in, scoring Brown with the winning run as the Tigers evened the series and forced the game's 5th game. In Game 5, the Tigers took an early lead in the bottom of the first, but the Athletics would put 2 unanswered runs on the board in the second and fourth, respectively, to secure the pennant. And that was one of the runs famous play in the plate where Jackson tore his Achilles and was out for the rest of the playoffs. Now, this was the first of 3 consecutive AL pennants won by Athletics. They would win again in '73 and '74, both coming against the Orioles. The Tigers would not return to postseason for another 12 years until '84, when they went to win the World Series. Now, both the Athletics and Tigers would meet again in the 2006 ALCS as well as the 2012 and 2013 ALDS, with the Tigers winning all three meetings. Now in the 72 NLCS, the Pirates won the first game at Three Rivers 5-1, with the Reds winning Game 2 in Pittsburgh 5-3. Pirates won 3-2 at Riverfront, but from then on it was all Reds, as they won at Riverfront 7-1 and 4-3. Now this was a rematch of the 70 NLCS, which the Reds swept 3-0. The Reds once again came out on top, knocking off the defending World Series champion Pirates in a close 5-game series to return to the World Series for the second time in 3 years. Now the Pirates cruised to a 5-1 victory in Game 1 after with a strong pitching performance from Steve Blass, while the Reds evened the series in Game 2 by holding off a rally by the Pirates. When the series shifted to Cincinnati, the Pirates took Game 3 by a 3-2 score to take a 2-1 series lead. Now in Game 4, the Reds blew out the Pirates 7-1 off a two-hit complete game performance from starting pitcher Ross Grimsley. Game 5 was the nail-biter of the series, as the Pirates led 3-2 going in the bottom of the ninth and were 3 outs away from winning back-to-back NL pennants. Then Reds catcher Johnny Bench hit a solo home run to tie the game. Then Tony Perez single was replaced by pinch runner George Foster. Dennis Menke followed with another single as Foster moved to second. With the count 2-0 on Cesar Geronimo, Pirates closer Dave Gusti was replaced with Game 2 starter Bob Moose. Geronimo almost a fly ball advanced Foster to third, but Moose induced shortstop Darrell Cheney to pop out as Foster stayed at third. Just when it looked like Moose may wiggle out of a tough 2-on, no-out situation, he uncorked a wild pitch to pinch hitter Hal McRae, scoring Foster with a winning run, securing the pennant for the Reds. It was the first time a postseason season series ended on a wild pitch since the 27 World Series, in which the Pirates were swept by the Yankees. Now the Reds returned to the NLCS the next year, but they were upset by the 82-win New York Mets in 5 games. The Pirates would make the postseason again in 74, but it would fall to the Dodgers in 4 games in the NLCS. They would not win the pennant again until 79. Now in the World Series, one game was postponed to October 18th because of rain. Oakland won the opening game 3-2 at Riverfront and 2-1 again at Riverfront, both close contests. Cincinnati, despite Johnny Bench being suckered by the strike pitch, won the Game 3 1-0, but a comeback in Game 4 gave Oakland a 3-2 win. Now Cincinnati squeaked out victory in Game 5 as the Athletics were hoping to tie the game, but Blue Maroon was thrown out of home plate on a close play. Cincinnati destroyed Oakland 8-1 in Game 6, and the Athletics again on the Bobby Tolan, era might say, scoring the big runs as they won 3-2. Now, ironically, ladies and gentlemen, this was the highest total for a World Series in quite some time. The average attendance was over 50,000 for each of the contests. 56,000 the last game in Riverfront. Now, this was the first World Series between the Reds and Athletics, as was the first World Series since 1968 to not feature the Orioles. Despite blowing a 3-1 series lead, the Athletics held on to win Game 7 and took their first title since 1930. Now, the Athletics' victory marked the start of a dynasty for the franchise, as they would win the World Series again in 73 and 74, or the Mets and the Dodgers, respectively, to complete a three-peat. They would also win another title in 89 over the crosstown rivals, the Giants. Now, for the Reds, they returned to the World Series in 75, where they defeated the Red Sox in 7 games, and he also won the 76 World Series against the Yankees. The Reds and Athletics would meet again in the 90 World Series, where the Reds shockingly upset the Athletics 4 straight, beating the Bash Brothers. Now, NBC televised all postseason games nationally in the States. Each team's local broadcaster also televised coverage of LCS games. So, again, a very, very exciting series. But I think if anybody was thinking that the Reds were going to lay down for the Athletics after losing 3-1, they were highly mistaken. I think the Athletics weren't as good as the Reds in 72, but like I said, you got to play 7 games. The utility players and the relievers for Oakland were much better than the Reds, and that was the big difference. 9 against 9, the Athletics had no chance, but then again, Gene Tennis getting the home runs and Don Minchner hits and Angel Marquez, a lot of big hits in the contest. So that's the story of the 1972 American League and National League playoffs leading to the World Series. If you like what we're doing here, let us know with a like, comment, subscribe, or share. Bye.